So who's the blonde chick?
Coach Clark. Every good podcast has to have a blonde chick.
I was told they keep me around because I'm pretty.
Yeah, but that's only 50%. Yeah, it's really, really important to find a mentor. My mentor, we know that guy. And we talk pretty much daily.
If you could go back and talk to young Caitlin, what would you tell her?
How do I fix it? I don't know. I've never done this before.
So when you say you weren't prepared for that, why weren't you prepared? Or what was it that you weren't prepared for?
You can't be afraid to take your time. I think I could have avoided a lot of those mistakes if I was reading and knew what to read. You don't know what you don't know. So now I know because I started working with you.
It goes against one of my personal philosophies is
Don't get comfortable.
I actually thought at one point I was going to have to fire you. And you were babbling on about the email that I sent out and the bullet points. And I was like, I'm not sure if she's making fun of me or being serious.
Oh,
and when
no,
you left,
I would
like,
never joke about a bullet point list. Our mantra now is we are not whiners, we're winners, and winners don't whine. You actually taught me not only how to be a director, but how to be a leader. I'm becoming better at it. It's just like anything else. It's a learned skill that you have to practice.
Cool. We'll start now.
This is the Clark Connection Podcast, where 12 years of coaching championships meets real-world leadership. Coach Clark broke through at the highest levels. Now he's bringing you the playbook. Every week, real leaders, real wins. Real strategies you can use Monday morning. If you're done with theory and ready for results, this is your show. You in? Let's go!
And welcome back to the Clark Connection Podcast. And welcome to our second episode of 2026. This is the place where leadership, personal growth, and real-world development collide. I'm your host, Aaron Clark, a.k.a. The Coach. And here's your fast leadership truth for this week. Leadership isn't about the title you hold. It's about the influence you use, whether you realize it or not. But before we jump in, I want to take a moment to shout out today's sponsors. I could not do this without their support. This episode of the Clark Connection Podcast is proudly brought to you by Hubbard Flooring Studio. Leadership, growth, and success all start with a strong foundation, but the details matter too. Vicky and her team don't just specialize in high-quality flooring. They also offer Hunter Douglas blinds, bringing both function and design together in one place. Whether you're building, renovating, or upgrading a home or business, Hubbard Flooring Studio helps you create a space that reflects quality, intention, and excellence, from the floors you stand on to the light you let in. Now, if you're ready to work with people who care about craftsmanship and getting it right, visit hubbardflooringstudio.com or call 225-924-1582. Hubbard Flooring Studio, covering you from the ground up. Shout out to Steadfast Electric for supporting the show. When your power needs to be reliable, not just good enough, Brian and his team deliver safe, dependable electric work for homes and businesses. No shortcuts, no guesswork. Learn more at steadfastelectric.com or call 225-457-7957. Steadfast Electric, reliable power done right the first time. I want to recognize Bobby with the Comfy Quest LLC for sponsoring the podcast. Bobby specializes in craniosacral therapy, a highly specialized form of bodywork, and she's one of only 2 therapists in the Baton Rouge area offering it. This work helps the body release deep tension, regulate the nervous system, and truly reset. To learn more or book a session, visit massagebook.com/acomfyquest or call 225-773-0307. A Comfy Quest, specialized craniosacral therapy for a real nervous system reset. A big thanks to Automate Integrate Professional Services for backing the show. Andrew helps businesses simplify, automate, and integrate their systems so leaders stop wasting time on manual work and start focusing on growth. Visit automate-integrate.com or email Andrew at automate-integrate.com. Automate Integrate, systems that work so you don't have to overwork. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Bob Smith, chiropractic internist, for sponsoring today's episode. Dr. Bob focuses on identifying the root cause of pain and dysfunction, not just covering up symptoms. If your body isn't performing the way it should, this is the kind of care that looks deeper. Learn more at brspine.com or call 225-291-2626. Dr. Bob Smith, finding the root cause, not just chasing symptoms. Thank you so much for your support. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. And if you support these sponsors, you're supporting us. So thank you for that. If you want to reach out and connect with me, you can find all the links on your screen or in the description. Hit me up via email, website, or social media. They're all there. And reach out. I'm the actual one that responds. Now, I'm excited today because I'm joined by Caitlin Michelet, who also serves as the co-host of the Clark Connection podcast. Caitlin is currently the director of admissions at Delta College, and her leadership journey spans from college athletics, student life, mental health, and higher education administration. In this conversation, we unpack mentorship, patience and career growth, the realities of leadership responsibility, and what it really means to create a positive work environment. Caitlin brings both experience and perspective, and this is one you don't want to miss. Let's get into it. And Caitlin, welcome back to the Clark Connection podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Yeah. So, I mean, people know you already. You're on here often, that you are the co-host. And as you told me to mention you, Her Royal Highness. So
yes.
I do want to make sure that for all of you out there, we are with royalty. So make sure you address her as such.
Yes, that's how I prefer to be addressed. Thank you.
But I know one of the things we wanted to start off, we started off with, it was to, hey, slowly introduce who is Caitlin Michelet. And it all spawned, or I think I even talked about it in, I think it was episode 70, where I said somebody was like, who's the blonde chick? And I was like, I've never really gone in. They talked about, how did you get to where you are? And I think that is so cool. And I know the story, so it's, but not everybody else does. So let's just kind of get, who is Caitlin and what got Caitlin in here?
Yeah, who is the blonde chick? Well, I mean, every good podcast has to have a blonde chick, you know?
Well, I thought that was my job, to be blonde.
Yeah, but that's only 50%. That's 50%.
I was told they keep me around because I'm pretty.
I don't know. They lied. Dang it. Man.
I'm leaving.
Well, yeah, that was the plan initially. Once we started bringing me on as the co-host, was to kind of sprinkle in a little bit of who is Caitlin. But we had a lot of great ideas. We got distracted with our Ask the Coach and our book reviews and all kinds of stuff. So we kind of dove headfirst into the material. But I'm an open book, so yeah. What do you want to know?
And so I think, let's kind of just start with, because you've had a pretty cool journey when you really think about it. Starting with, I mean, I don't know if you want to start like, hey, senior year of high school to present, or starting with the Lionettes. How do you want to start it? You're the guest.
Yeah. I mean, I always say that, like, my whole life, really, I feel like a lot of people notice my leadership potential. I was a 2-year captain on my dance team in high school. And then I went off to college, and I was on the college dance team at Southeastern. I was a psychology major at Southeastern, and I absolutely loved my time there. But that's kind of how it all started, was with the dance team, going on to Lionettes. I only did that for a year. That lifestyle was one that wasn't quite for me, but I'm glad that I did it.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize how difficult the college athletic lifestyle is.
Yeah, college athletics. It's a beast of its own. I definitely didn't really understand what I was signing up for when I did it. Like I said, I'm glad that I did, because I think I would have had a lot of regrets if I hadn't at least tried out. And it was fun. It was a fun experience. But
And that's when I always tell. So when I was coaching,
yeah.
I used to tell my players that all the time. Look, if you ever get the opportunity, players, students, whoever, go do it. Because I hadn't met anybody yet that says, I regret going and competing at the highest level I could compete.
No, you're never gonna regret that, I don't think. Or like I said, at least trying. You'll regret not trying.
That you will.
Yeah. But I learned very quickly that it is very different than high school athletics. So what I always say is high school athletics, or, clubs, extracurricular activities, it's a hobby, and college athletics is a lifestyle. So it's two very different mindsets. Yeah.
It's a business. It's a business.
It's your job. It's your first priority. I mean, you are a college student still, but you get the grades to stay in your athletic team. You plan your classes around practice and games and things like that. So, and you don't really get an outside life either. When you're in high school, let's say you're on the dance team, you can still have a job and, go out with your friends and, have time to study and stuff like that. No, college athletics is a full-time commitment. And it kind of just took the fun out of it for me. I've loved to dance my entire life since I was 2 years old. I still do. There's nothing that makes me happier. And I didn't want to kind of ruin that love for dance. So I left.
I thought you said being the co-host on here made you the happiest, and working with
I don't
me.
think I ever said that.
Oh. Misremembered again.
If it were true, I would never say that out loud to you. We got to make sure the head fits inside the frame. So yeah, no, that never came out of my mouth. But yeah, that was my Lionettes experience at Southeastern.
And so what after that? I know you had a couple of other leadership roles, even through college. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, after I left the Lionettes, I actually kind of just happened upon the resident assistant position. I had a family friend that worked in the housing office, and she encouraged me to interview. And so that's what I started doing my sophomore year. And then I did it junior and senior year as well. And that's a really, really cool, like, peer leadership position, because you're a student too, and you're living on campus too, but you're basically in charge of your fellow residents, your fellow classmates.
Which is a difficult job if you have residents like me.
Yeah, definitely. There were a lot of reasons, to have good, strong RAs on campus. And there were a lot of really great leadership skills that I learned and developed working for housing. I didn't know how important they would be, later on in my life. But they made me good at what I was doing at that time. They made me a good RA.
Awesome. And so I went through, did that for 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
I was like, I can add. So what was the next phase in Caitlin's leadership journey?
Well, I had some setbacks. I'm not gonna lie. So when I left college, I graduated with my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I had actually worked my way up in housing as well. So I was a regular RA for a couple of years, and then I served on the recruitment committee at one point, and then I actually was the chairperson for a different housing committee. So I was, feeling like in a good place my senior year. And then I got my degree and, had to get out into the real world.
I'll say the big lion on campus, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say dog, but y'all were lions.
Big dog, big lion. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a wake up call. Like, the world pretty much does not care that you have a degree, or that you were a student worker. You're bottom of the barrel. So I did start working in mental health. That's kind of where I thought that I wanted to go with my degree for a couple of years. And so I tried a couple of different places. I worked at the Crisis Intervention Center, taking like crisis calls and national suicide prevention phone calls. And
so,
then,
so was the call center before Canes or was that after Canes?
Oh,
I
gosh.
remember you.
Yeah, sorry, I completely skipped over Canes. That was a huge part of
I was thinking that I was like,
No,
maybe I
no.
misremembered. Maybe it was call center Canes.
No, so I worked for Canes for a long time. That was my first job. I mean, from the time that I was in high school, I got that job at 17 and worked there for a couple of years until I did Linettes at Southeastern. Like I said, you can't really work while you're doing that kind of thing. So I took a year off. But then when I got the job at housing, I went back to Canes and worked there for another 3 years. So it was a nice little tenure, and I did some really cool things with Canes as well. I was a certified trainer, trained a lot of people, and I also traveled and opened some new restaurants in Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Now, I bet that was some fun experience being the college kid on the road.
Yeah, it was fun. It was over the summer. It was over one summer that I did both of those trips. It's the most that I've probably ever worked in my entire life. Like, in 1 week, we were putting in 80, 90 hours a week. But it was really cool. They were
part-time job too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty much work and sleep and then go back to work. So, but it was really cool. So how Canes at least used to do it, they may have changed it, but they bring out a group of like 8 to 10 trainers from different areas around the country too. But they bring them all to this new location that they're going to open, and you're there for about 2 weeks, and the whole crew is learning how to run the restaurant, like, all at the same time. So you're training on, counter and drive-through and kitchen, and even the managers are training, how to run the restaurant. So it's a really cool 2 weeks. It's a lot of work, but really, really cool experience.
Yeah. And so is that when you knew, though, that, hey, I want to move further up in my career? I want to move up into leadership, or?
No. No.
And I asked that because I truly admire like how Raising Cane's does their leadership training
Absolutely.
and what have you. It's a, I would put them, they're one of my top choices for people to go work at is them or Cane's if you're wanting to develop leadership skills. I said there or Cane's.
Canes are
There or
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar. I mean, they have always had a really great like management structure and like supervisory structure. That's one of the things that I loved, even as a trainer. And at the time, I didn't think of being a trainer as being a leader. I thought of leadership as very level one, like, and when I say that, I mean the managers, like the shift managers, the operations managers, the GMs. They were the leaders because they were the boss, right? And I was just a trainer. I just went in, and I used to say if I could train someone new every day, I would do that over working a regular shift. It was just so much more fun and so much more rewarding. So no, I didn't think at that point that I wanted to be in leadership. I just knew that I loved training and coaching and seeing people grow and improve and enjoy it along the way, like have a good time doing it. That was really important to me as well.
Yeah. So went from Cane's no, I am not going to be the boss.
I was never a manager, never wanted to be a manager. The highest I ever really got was, certified trainer, but I was the best one.
I believe that.
Yeah.
That's how you get the title, Her Royal Highness.
Exactly. It's hard to come by.
Hey, if you've liked what you've seen so far, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the show. That way we can continue to bring you great guests and great content like you've seen so far. Now back to the episode. Went from Cane's, graduated, went to the call center.
Yes.
You said that wasn't very long.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it was a new position when I was hired on. So at the call center, typically people do that on like a volunteer basis. So it's like only a few hours a week. And, it doesn't really get too heavy when you do it like that, just here and there, but I got hired on as a paid position. And so that was a 40-hour a week job. And it got to be a lot, just mentally, emotionally, heavy. Yeah.
Well, I can imagine. I mean, most of those calls are not, you said it's suicide prevention. So I'm having to imagine every call is life or death.
Yeah. Some of them. Luckily, it wasn't all of them. We also worked the crisis line. So a lot of people would call for like local resources.
Okay.
Or, so resources.
Okay.
And we had a whole database of resources, like if they needed temporary housing or food bank or things like that. So we would provide local resources, but some of them were crisis prevention. So like suicide, homicide, risk assessments and things like that. So yeah, it did get pretty heavy because sometimes it would come down to, did I do my job right? Did I, prevent a crime from happening, or did I, yeah, you can imagine.
Yeah. So, all right, went from call center. What was the next?
Mm-hmm. So while I was at the call center, I also coached my alma mater high school dance team for a couple of years. So that was kind of a step forward in my leadership journey as well. Just the fact of taking on that role.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that something you had always wanted to do? To do the high school coaching or coach a dance team, or
not necessarily?
How did that come about? I've never thought to ask you that.
Yeah, no, I liked being the captain, and I liked being on the team when I was in high school. I did it all 4 years. but I never like thought of or saw myself coaching in the future. Because like most of the coaches were also teachers, and I didn't see myself as like a high school teacher. So, but it worked out because
you weren't that crazy.
no, definitely not.
Me either.
Calling your bluff. But it worked out to where I could do the coaching gig while I was at the crisis center, because the call center was 24 hours. So it was pretty flexible, and I could attend practice and games and competitions and all that. So
yeah, well, that makes sense. And
mm-hmm.
and so how did that go? So was doing that at the same time. How was your experience? Because I guess I was technically your first leadership role.
Yeah. Yeah, my first leadership
As the boss.
Yeah, my first leadership
you were a leader
position.
as a trainer.
Yes, I was. I didn't think of myself as that, and it I wasn't the manager or the boss or anything. So I guess as the coach, that was my first real like leadership position, and I was doing it at the same time as the crisis center or the call center. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like it got a little heavy. It got a little dark. Because I didn't feel like my first year of coaching was good. I would say overall it was good. But the second year, I did a lot of things wrong that I would go back and change if I were to if I were to do it again. I would do a lot of things differently now.
And so what would you say was the biggest thing that you learned in that position?
Really, honestly, the importance of leadership. And because I think what was really working for me my first year was that I had some really great seniors that were very strong leaders themselves. And the team really looked to them for, guidance and approval and all of that. And they were very welcoming to me, even though I didn't really earn it at that point. They were, they were just like really chill. There was a lot of trial and error, but they made it really easy, on me.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Believe me, I know. I ran into one of my first ones that I ever coached. And that's what I told her. I was like, sweetheart, we were talking, and I was able to just see how she's grown and whatnot. And I was like, sweetheart, I just want to apologize. I sucked. I was awful. And she's like, no,
honestly,
you were awesome. I'm like, oh my goodness, no, I was terrible.
Yeah, like maybe I wasn't the worst, but I definitely wasn't the best.
I mean, was I cool? Absolutely. But did I know what I was doing?
No, not a bit.
Yes. Yes,
not
I did.
Bit. I didn't. I did not. Yeah. And so that's, I think, what made it easier for me my first year and made it a good experience overall. Because I wasn't like fighting against, the other leaders on the team. My second year, it wasn't really like that. I didn't feel like I had the seniors necessarily on my side. And so I don't think I had the team bought in. And at that point, I didn't know how to get them on my side,
and that's crucial.
Get them on my team,
Yeah, that's crucial. The buy-in of your team? That's crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've all struggled with that at some point.
Yeah. But I was still in that place in my leadership journey where I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't even know where to start or who to go to or, yeah, how to get better. I didn't know.
Well, and I think that's another crucial point that we all miss as leaders is
Mhm.
whenever stuff is going wrong, who do you talk to? Having a mentor. Because that had me thinking that was stuff that I got to do when I was coaching. Is if it wasn't going, I just picked up the phone and called Sid Edwards. I mean, I could, hey coach, this is what's happening, or I could talk to Doug Dotson or Dwayne Severio, Drew Nettles, Neil Weiner. I mean, had a huge network of great
Deep
coaches.
bench. Hmm.
I didn't realize when I was early 20s. I didn't realize that. And so
Yeah,
that's a good point. When you said I didn't know what I didn't know is I think that's important having that mentor too, for those of you that are listening.
absolutely. Yeah, I think it's for a lot of us that have that kind of leadership instinct or even have experience, let's say like on the dance team or, in leadership or in coaching or anything like that. It's like sometimes you can pinpoint what's wrong or you think you know what's wrong, but how do I fix it? I don't know. I've never done this before. So, yeah, it's really, really important to find a mentor, someone who's done it before you and not only that, but like knows how to teach it. 'Cause that's two different things. That's two different
And that
things.
is, I mean, having somebody that knows you can't just, like you said, yeah, I know how to go and win games, but if I can't teach you how to do it, I can't really help you.
Yeah.
Very important to distinguish between the two.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you went from there. You went from while at the call center working as the dance team coach, and then you said you went to where was that next?
I worked at a mental health clinic,
Okay, the clinic.
just outpatient. Yeah, so it was less heavy, emotionally on me. Um, Nice, like Monday through Friday office type of job. I was only there 2 years, but that was another kind of example where I, got started, and I'm a fast learner. I'm a hard worker. And so I typically, I mean, not to brag or anything, but typically work my way up pretty quickly. And that's exactly what happened. I got worked up to, I think it was like a senior office rep or something like that. And then eventually a office manager. And I was not prepared for that.
And so when you say you weren't prepared for that, why weren't you prepared? Or what was it that you weren't prepared for?
Well, I think it goes back to what we've been saying about like you need someone to teach you how to manage, and how to be a leader, how to be the boss. I think a lot of people don't understand that you're talking about completely different skill sets for most jobs. Like at, a health clinic type of situation. I could be the best, front desk, answering the phones, calling in medications, doing all the pharmacy, insurance stuff, even intake. Like I had a lot under my belt. I had a lot that I was responsible for. I was really good at it. But then when I move up to managing people, leading a team, that's a completely different job. I was like in my own little office by myself on the computer and on the phone all day. now I'm in charge of people. First of all, people who a week ago, they were my equal, and now all of a sudden it's, who are you? Like trying to tell me what to do and write me up and, boss me around. Like, why should I listen to you? And that's a fair question, you know? So yeah, I definitely wasn't prepared for that pushback, that transition, how to deal with that. And I hadn't been taught those leadership skills.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why, like, one of the things I like to do is try to get, before I put somebody into that role, is get them to, hey, you're in charge of this. You can't tell people you're in charge of this. I'm sure you remember when I did that to you. Like, nope, you don't get to boss anybody around. You got to get them to work with you.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it works too. I mean, now, like, as the director, I can understand and kind of put myself in that position. And I do that sometimes now too. Like, it helps with not only delegating your tasks, but it builds that confidence in your team, and specifically the people that you see those those leadership instincts and that leadership potential, and you, on a smaller scale, like, you have the opportunity to say, hey, you were in charge of this one thing. Let's talk about it. Why did you do things the way that you did them? Do you think that was right or was that wrong? Okay, let's talk about it. Let's maybe do better next time and things like that. But the important thing with that is that at the end of the day, as the manager, it still ultimately falls on you. Like, you're the one that has to take that.
Right. Yeah, and
take that L.
Everything rises and falls on leadership.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're the one in charge, that you're the one that's ultimately responsible.
Yep.
You don't get to pass the buck. I think we talked about that.
We did.
If y'all go watch our book review of The Traveler's Gift, fantastic book. We want to take a quick moment to shout out today's premier sponsor, Vicky with Hubbard Flooring Studio. Leadership always starts with a strong foundation, and so does your home or office. Vicky and her team don't just cover floors, they help you step into excellence one plank, tile, or carpet at a time. And now, they are offering Hunter Douglas blinds, giving you the ability to set the tone, control the light, and create the perfect environment to lead from. Hubbard Flooring Studio, where strong foundations and bright visions begin. And so, you'd mentioned, hey, that was a disaster as well, though. So that ultimately you moved on
and found myself back in higher education, which I didn't actually see myself working in as a professional. But it sparked my interest. I loved working in housing. I loved working in the college system when I was a college student. But specifically, Delta College really interested me because I wasn't super familiar with career training colleges or, trade schools, things like that. So yeah, being on like a smaller scale, kind of smaller school type of atmosphere, was really appealing to me. So yeah, found myself in admissions at Delta College.
Yeah, I was going to say, and so you were an admissions rep there. How long?
Yeah, I started in 2020, and it was like the beginning of 2023 that I started really working with you. So like 2.5 years.
Yeah, and that seems about the right timeline. And because let's see, I started back in 21. Yeah, the beginning of 21. And like, my goal was not to be the the corporate director whenever they
Right. You
whenever they
started
moved me.
as an admissions rep. You were in the office right next to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was my plan, and was to go through, and then all of a sudden, right about that same time was when I guess it was they moved me to the corporate director role, and then it was probably like 6 months later that we had our director of admissions at that location. That was like, man, I got too much going on. I can't do this. Still want to work at Delta. And they were like, cool, Aaron, you're now the director of admissions there. And I was like,
It blew your
goodness.
cover, man. It's like a real life version of like Undercover Boss.
Now that was because I got to experience a lot, to see what a lot of the issues were, and y'all were all open and honest with me until y'all found out that I was going to be I was hired to be the corporate director, and then everybody became ugly to me, and I was like, good night, man.
I know. I remember you being so upset. You're like, I just started enrolling people.
Yeah, we just didn't have any processes, procedures on how to train people.
No.
How important that is as a leader.
Yeah.
And because once I figured it out.
It was coming for me.
Oh, I had you.
Oh.
I had you for that start. And then they were like, cool, you figured it out. Now start doing this for everybody. And I was like, but it's one that it goes against one of my personal philosophies is that a lot of people do is they say, all right, hey, you're the best. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, where'd he go?
But I mean, that's what happens to a lot of people is they get thrown into that role. And I mean, like, I remember with all of that. And so I'm going to tell one on Caitlin. So I actually, and she knows this, I actually thought at one point I was going to have to fire you. Mm-hmm. So when they moved me into the corporate director role, I actually was able to successfully run off that 2 people. And I just remember at that time that because I was still in the building with you, because they didn't pull me out because I wanted to stay. I was like, I need to be able to see what's going on day to day.
Yeah.
And I remember you came to me and was like, hey, what do you think if I moved to that office over there?
Yep.
And I just remember thinking, I just said, sure. And it was like, I'm about to fire you anyway, so it doesn't matter.
You're like, don't get comfortable.
Like, okay, whatever. And because at that time, and this goes into another one you hear us talk about often, is that you become the sum of the top 5 people that you're around. And you'd become so negative that when you moved over, I was just like, it was within a week or two that it was like,
noticeable change.
who is that now?
Yeah.
And that was when I realized, hey, I ran off the wrong people. That it was really this one. Mm-hmm. It was the other one that you'd moved away from. And so it took, and that was actually one of the first things I did once they said, all right, you're now going to be the director of admissions. I went, cool, so I can do whatever I want. And they went, yep. I was like,
yeah.
See ya.
That's a nice little teaser for our next book review.
Yes.
The importance of the energy around you and the energy that you give off.
It is. And that was one that I thought was just when I saw it. And then, because it was right after that. So that was, had you gotten married yet? I can't remember if you were married or if.
It's all a blur, let me tell you.
But I just remember because
it may have I may have just got married. It was in 2022.
I know I'd sent one that always kind of cracked me up, and I still laugh about this, is I'll always remember you coming. I'd sent out an email about what all we were going to do. And you were like, you came and sat in my office and you went, thank you so much. And I was like, because you still hadn't like turned the corner yet.
Yeah. I was getting there.
And you were babbling on about the email that I sent out and the bullet points. And I was like, I'm not sure if she's making fun of me or being serious.
Oh no, I would never joke about a bullet point list.
It's like, she's serious. Okay. Like, she doesn't know I just do all that in bullet points because you don't have to write incomplete sentences. You can just have thoughts. And as you often tell other people, I even speak in half thoughts.
Yes. You speak in shorthand.
Shorthand. That's how I was like, how did you say?
Which is exactly what a bullet point list is. So
Bingo. Bingo.
Shorthand.
And then it was about that time that I started doing doing a lot of onboarding and training with everybody and moving into that role.
Which we had never done before. We had never done like corporate admissions training, really even campus admissions training, besides here's everything about all of the programs, learn it all, and then start enrolling people.
Yes.
That's not, that's not top priority. So yeah, that was the first time we started getting everybody, like all the corporate, all the admissions reps together from the different campuses, and all the directors from the different campuses, all in the same Zoom room, on the same page, talking about the same stuff. It was great.
Yeah. And I do remember, and that was the other one I remember, was after one of them, you came in and you went, I want to do what you do.
Yep.
I went, huh? And you said, I want to train. I want to do what you do. And I was like, perfect. You know, I'm trying to find a director of admissions here, right? And you were like, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to be the director. Yeah. You're like, you're like, what I'm doing is what the directors do or, should be doing. I'm like, I don't know. Well, I think I was also very like trigger shy about being in a leadership position again, because I felt like I had failed. Every leadership position that I was in before, admissions at Delta, I tried, and then I didn't do a very good job at it. And I either had to like start back from square one or like find somewhere else to work. So, and I didn't want to do that. I like working at Delta.
And that
I
was
didn't want to fail again.
I just remember going, cool. We'll start now.
Yeah. But you actually taught me not only how to be a director, but how to be a leader. It took a long time.
Well, it was very intentional, and I knew it was going to take time. That was one that I often struggle, and I know we talked about that early on because you were like, and I did this and failed. And I'm like, great. Go find the 20-year-old Caitlin and tell her to shut up.
Yep. Slap her around a little bit.
It's one, though, that I struggled at first as a coach. Because I had always been thrown into leadership. I mean, I remember being in conference boardroom meetings as like me and my dad were talking about it one day. I said, do you remember the very first board meeting you took me into? And he said, yes. And he went, you were 8 years old and we were in Seattle, Washington. And I was like, I remember
you don't even remember
Seattle,
that?
but And I remember vaguely being in there like, oh my gosh, this is so boring. But
Yeah.
then it was just like, okay, I remember that. And so, I mean, it's been a part of my life.
Yeah. Intentionally.
Yeah. And so being, being in leadership roles, that even, I had a phenomenal youth pastor that whenever I was growing up, that he would take to the youth in the youth group, and like had youth leaders. And so whenever they made plans for the youth group at church, the youth leaders were in there, like the students. And so I got to be a part of a lot of different things as a young person that most people aren't privy to. And so I forget that, so when I tell people, yeah, I've been in a leadership role for 20 plus years. I mean, at almost 40 years old, it's been a lot. Like, so I have to remember that not everybody was as fortunate as I was.
Yeah. Starting so young.
And to be as bullheaded as I am. Like, cause
Yeah.
I didn't quit after the first one. I'm going to try that again.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew with yours, as we started talking and working through, all right, I got to let's get her down to the base level. And now let's start building. And taking you from, all right, here's what level 1 is. We're going to try not to use level 1 at all. We don't want to be the boss. We don't want to deal with position. We want to be permission, and then we want to be production. And so just starting to work and teach how somebody can do that is so vital.
Yeah. How to move up in levels. Because even when I talked about this a little bit with the mental health clinic, but the same kind of transitional period happened at Delta. Like once I was in more of a leadership role, some of the other reps or, other employees weren't really on board for that, and I was definitely on level 1 with them. And
I think you were on like level 0.
Yeah, literally. It was like 0, 0, 0. I'm like, cool.
The main
only
lobby.
up to go. But there's only up. But we worked on how to go up in levels with each individual person and creating those relationships. Because that's level 2, is that permission. I like you, so, sure, go ahead. And then just up from there with productivity and passing on that leadership knowledge to the rest of my team. So, but it's taken a very long time to get there. And sometimes people are going to get on board and sometimes they're not. And a couple of people, had to go. But
and a perfect teaser for the energy bus.
Yeah. That's a good one. Make sure you tune in, because that was a really great book. I'm excited to talk about that. But yeah, it's a journey. You can't be afraid to take your time. Don't rush it, and enjoy the journey along the way. You are going to mess up. You are going to have setbacks. Learn from them and keep going.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so, like now, the director,
Yes,
the big boss on campus, and so, what do you do? Because I know we'll get to this, but what do you do to help keep yourself sharp as a leader now?
Oh, to help keep myself sharp as a leader. So it's really important for me to protect my energy and to keep my energy positive. I'm becoming better at it. It's just like anything else. It's a learned skill that you have to practice. So I protect my energy. I believe in prayer. That's really important for me and my family as well. I keep good people around me. So Coach Clark as my mentor, we know that guy, and we talk pretty much daily. Pretty much daily, whether it's Delta College stuff, like today, for example, sitting in your office talking about Delta stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, there's something that happened over the weekend, and we're gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about it right now, but we need to talk about it. And that's more on like a personal leadership type of level, but I talk about those things, with you and with my husband and with my friends. It's so important for leaders to not keep just yes men around you, to keep people who are going to keep you humble and be honest. I'm constantly asking my friends and you and my husband, like, am I overreacting? Did I do the right thing? Would you have done? What would you have done? What would you think? How would you react? Kind of keeping myself in check,
Yeah. Yeah. And I was about to say, now I don't even tell you what I would do. I just say, cool, go do it, and whatever, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But
well,
I think I wish I could remember what it was. But one that we did is, I was asking you, I said, we got this situation. I need to do something about it. What would you do? And you're like, oh, well, I would do, and I can't remember what it was. And I said, cool, well, that's what I'm going to do. And I got up and you were like, stop. And I was like, what? If I mess up, who cares?
Yeah.
Hey, but if it's good, I'm going to be like, that was her idea.
Yeah. That's so important though for your mentor and hopefully your supervisor too, for you to go through that like transitional period with them, because that's what really helped me to build my confidence and not be so afraid. I still struggle with this because I'm a perfectionist and I'm an overachiever and all the things, and very humble, Her Royal Highness. But but it really helped me to build my confidence and not be afraid to mess up. To start just making decisions, and then was it a good decision or a bad decision? We're gonna find out and go from there. But you gotta be brave. You gotta be confident. Make a choice. Be a person of action, and keep moving forward.
Absolutely. And so I liked so what advice would you give to someone just starting out in leadership?
Yeah. Well, I think about, go ahead.
Do you remember what you put?
Yeah. Well, I think about myself, like what would I have told myself when I was just starting out in leadership? But I think it's applicable for really anybody, is to be patient, take your time, give yourself a lot of grace, and don't rush it. That's the biggest thing that I would say, because I think that, especially in this economy, a lot of times people want to work their way up as quickly as possible, because the higher you get up, in the company, the more money you make, and
the more taxes you pay.
Yeah. I'm more money, more problems. Let me tell you. And it's really true, because if you're doing it for the money, you're not going to be happy. It's never going to be enough money, because it's not worth it. You have to be a leader because you love being a leader and you love helping people and seeing people grow, and you love growing and learning. And then the money will come, you know? So that's one thing that I would say is take your time. And the other thing is to start reading, because that's the other thing that I do now to keep myself sharp. You know, how we were talking about earlier about I didn't know what I didn't know, or maybe I knew what was wrong, but I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't know who to ask or, you know, how to learn. Books. It's very simple. Pick a book, pick it up, start reading.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you heard, because I tried to flip flop the roll on you whenever you called me a dork in a previous episode, and I'm like, dang, she kept rolling.
Oh, dork.
Reading. What a loser. Don't look.
I know. All your books back there.
No. And it is. But with anything that you do, it's all trainable. The leadership is a trainable, learnable thing. And the biggest thing I think people don't take into account is when you become the leader, you give up the right to think about yourself. And you're constantly looking at, well, what do you guys think we should do? Especially if you have, like, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have a good inner circle and to be able to go, because there's times, guys, that you're going to do stuff that there's one person in the organization that's higher than me, and I still do stuff that I don't like doing. So I know when we were setting up our new CRM, as I was going through and I'm talking with all the other directors, and y'all had something, y'all said, we think this would be better. And I was like, all right, why? And being open to know that, hey, if this is going to be better I was like, well, go ask your team, go ask them. What do they say? And y'all came back and y'all were like, yeah, everybody's kind of on board with this. And I went, I don't like it, but cool, let's do it. If it's going to be best. And I thought it was a pretty good move with how we set up the flow on some of the stuff, but you guys are on the ground. Y'all work. Y'all know what's happening.
Yeah, that helps to establish your relationship as a leader, though, too. Like you putting your trust in your team encourages them to trust you. So it's kind of a leap of faith kind of thing, you know, to build your relationship with your team too. Yeah. And like you said, if it doesn't work out, or if it was a bad call, number one, that's on me. But number two, we'll fix it.
Yes. Yes, and we have fixed some of the bad calls. But
they're not all going to be, you know, W's. It's okay.
Yeah. And so the last kind of couple of questions I always love to ask everybody, because, you know, we talked about it. Leaders are readers. Not all readers are leaders, but leaders are learners. They're constantly growing. So what would be one book that you would recommend all leaders read?
How to Win Friends and Influence People. I love that one. It's one of the first ones that we started out with, that you had me read when we started working together, training. And it's very applicable. Like, even if you don't want to be like a manager or a leader in your company, John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. You influence someone every single day, whether you realize it or not. You're influencing someone. And so it's important that you are intentional about that influence. And that's what How to Win Friends and Influence People is about. You know, sure, if you want to work your way up in the company, it's a good one. If you want to be a better parent, it's a good one. If you want to be a better friend, you know, a better son or daughter. I mean, it's great for everybody.
It is. It's an all-time classic. It's one of my favorites. I read it every year, so It's one of my top ones. What about what's any books or like currently reading or maybe just finished reading?
So I just finished reading The Energy Bus. That'll be our next book review. So I'm really excited about that one. That was a great one to start the year off with. Like we said earlier, just as a reminder of
start. I mean, it was kind of
both. Yeah, kind of teetering
the
the year line. But the importance of your energy and the energy that you keep around you. So just finished that one. And I really enjoyed John Gordon, who was the author of The Energy Bus. So I'm about to order his, I think it's called the No Complaining Rule. Really want to read
That's
that
a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one and The Carpenter.
And I have a almost 3-year-old, so I'm hoping maybe we can implement some of those principles.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. And the other one that
threes are great. I love threes. They're learning.
They're learning so much. So yeah, it's but again, like the principles that you learn with these leadership books, like even some of the stuff that we learned in The Energy Bus, I brought to my daughter. We our mantra now is we are not whiners, we're winners, and winners don't whine. And it helps. It helps. So, it's universally applicable.
Well, and if you're a parent, that's a perfect one. Anybody who on here listening, if you're a parent, you're leading your children.
Oh, yes. Every single day.
So you got to constantly develop your leadership, man.
Yes.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Caitlin, last question I always ask everybody is, what's one thing I should have asked you but maybe didn't ask you?
I feel like you asked everything. Maybe something about our mentorship relationship, or anything that I'm promoting.
Yeah, so maybe tell everybody about our mentor relationship or something that we're promoting.
Okay. Good question. So, well, we've had a great relationship, and looking forward to just continuing it and continuing to learn. I've really enjoyed that we are relatively close in age. So I think of you as kind of a peer, in some ways, but like you said earlier, you had such a early start in your leadership journey, and your life experience as well, starting a family and stuff like that. So there's a lot of experiences that you've had that I'm just now coming up on, so having that sounding board has been really, really great. So if anyone is looking for a mentor, first of all, there are specific ways to do that. We've learned about that as well, but I would really recommend Coach Clark and his training, especially in professional leadership. So there's that, and then there is the Developing the Leader Within You seminars coming up, starting in January. Yeah, really excited for that for you.
Thursday. Oh, sorry. Yeah, next Tuesday, the 20th.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a great one too. We read Developing the Leader Within You 2.0 with all of the directors of admissions, and there's some really, really great stuff in there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that for you and hopefully your new clients.
Absolutely. Well, Caitlin, I appreciate you getting on, sharing a little bit more about you, who you are, and I know it a little bit longer than what I typically do a guest show, but I felt like the people wanted to know who
I want to know
Her Royal Highness is.
Yes. Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on, and I'm happy to let the viewers get to know me a little bit better, because I'm looking forward to being back on as the co-host and bringing our audience some really great material.
Absolutely. Well, we'll definitely have you back on again, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thanks, Coach. Bye, guys.
And that wraps up today's conversation with Caitlin. And if you were paying attention, this episode was packed with leadership lessons. Now, we talked about the power of mentorship, and how leadership is built through influence, not titles, and why continuous learning and feedback are non-negotiables if you want to grow. Caitlin also shared hard-earned insight from her time in college athletics, student leadership, and mental health, and how those experiences shaped who she is and the way she leads today. If this episode added value to you, do me a favor, like, subscribe, and follow the Clark Connection podcast. That's how this message reaches more leaders who need it. And then share it with somebody who needs to hear this as well. And remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So keep learning, keep leading, keep connecting. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Clark Connection Podcast. Thanks for listening to the Clark Connection Podcast. If today's episode added value to you, do me a favor, follow the show and share it with someone who needs it. You can connect with me at my website, coachaclark.com, or on social media at Coach A. Clark. All the links are in the description. Until next time, keep leading, keep growing, and keep connecting.